The Blackcaps, they are in Sri Lanka and they have drawn their T20 series 1-1. So they only played 2 T20s. They've got 3 ODIs coming up. And this is the Zak Foulkes party. Zak Foulkes, 33 runs, strike rate of 150. Only Blackcaps batter in these 2 games with a strike rate over 100 for the series. Also casually took 4 wickets at an average of 10 and 6.1 RPO. So this is the factual Zachary Foulkes. Facts Foulkes. He has a T20I batting record of 16.5 average, 143 strike rate. And with the ball, he's averaging 23, 7.8 RPO. T20 cricket overall, he's averaging 16 with the bat, strike rate of 132, and he's averaging 18 with the ball, RPO of 7.5. So if you don't know about Zak Foulkes yet, I got a question if you've actually been listening and reading the Nichecache, because he's kind of the leading cricketer we have been talking about, and it was good to see that come to fruition a wee bit in Sri Lanka. Something that I was thinking about was that maybe Zak Foulkes is better than Nathan Smith. And I don't really think that's like a hot take, because Zak Foulkes has been playing for the Blackcaps. And Nathan Smith is yet to play for the Blackcaps. So
he didn't play either of these games, did he?
He didn't
Nathan
play in
Smith.
these 2 games. So the only thing there, and I can see how other people might think that Nathan Smith is the main dude on the rise, is that he got the Blackcaps contract. But again, this is the thing about the contract. Zak Foulkes didn't get a contract, and Zak Foulkes has already played 4 T20s for Aotearoa. And he's got a T20 batting strike rate of 143, and he's averaging 23 with the ball. And these aren't like just random one-off performances from Zak Foulkes, because he averages 25 in every single bowling format. So that's something to watch out for. Like, I think we're going to see Nathan Smith will probably play in the ODIs against Sri Lanka. And I do believe that Nathan Smith, he got his contract because he's on the test radar. But if we've got one dude who's already played and impressing for the Blackcaps, and we've got another guy who's yet to play for the Blackcaps, I think it's pretty clear that Zak Foulkes is the dude folks need to learn about if they haven't already. And like, Zak Foulkes is just as good at batting as Nathan Smith. I don't think his stats quite show that at the moment, but the shots he's playing and the fact that he was asked to open the batting for Canterbury last summer in the Plunket Shield does point to a very strong all-round cricketer in Zak Foulkes. And I don't think he can't be that far off the test squad, because he moves the ball. Like, Zak Foulkes bowling with the red ball in Aotearoa, he would be a handful. Because, like, the only issue is that him and Will O'Rourke and Kyle Jamieson, they all move the ball into the right-handers to the same extent, which means an absolute shitload. But Zak Foulkes does have a bit more variety. He's got the bouncer. Although, as we've talked about, Zak Foulkes on his Cricinfo profile, he is described as a tall, hit-the-deck fast bowler. He's not tall, he hits the deck, but he's not a fast bowler either. So 2 of the things there aren't factual. Because he's kind of just average height, and he bowls 132 to 135 k's per hour, which is fast enough given his action generates a bit more bounce and hurry the batsman upness. So that's Zak Foulkes, and he's had a pretty good T20 series. I'd say he was the best Blackcap in that series overall with bat and ball. Mitch Hay, I thought, was pretty damn good as a wicketkeeper. Like he's a skillful wicketkeeper. I think his wicketkeeping ability is international cricket caliber.
I think he had like 7 dismissals in the second game, didn't he? Defending a small total as well, which is nuts.
Yep,
It
so
was
that
like
was
5
useful.
catches and a stumping. Like that's good wicket keeping, you know?
That is useful. He has, however, had 5 scores below 5 in his last 6 innings. So this is
That's
Mitch
less
Hay.
useful.
This is Mitch Hay batting this summer. 0-2, 0-20, 0-3. So I think Mitch Hay's a very good batter. We've talked about that before. He's got a fantastic batting record as far as averaging 46 in first-class cricket and a T20 strike rate of 145, but he has not had a good start to the summer with the bat. The other dude I'm interested in here is Josh Clarkson, because I think Josh Clarkson has a fantastic opportunity, along with Zak Foulkes, and obviously Mitch Hay, who's the main wicketkeeper. I think Josh Clarkson's a dude to watch out for in the middle order. He had a score of 24, which is in the second game when they got rolled for not many, so he kind of salvaged that innings. And he hasn't quite had a moment, like a dominant moment in international cricket yet. So again, Josh Clarkson, he has played 11 games for New Zealand. And he's not as good a bowler as Nathan Smith. He might not be, if he might not even be as good a batter as Nathan Smith. But he's played 11 games for New Zealand. Like, this is the thing that we need to, like, this is like the nuance required when you're looking into these matters. Yes, Nathan Smith has a contract. Josh Clarkson might have a contract. Who knows? Who cares? But he's played 11 games. That's the most important thing. Who is playing for New Zealand? Do not assess New Zealand cricket depth by contracts. Assess it by who is playing for New Zealand in cricket games, because that's ultimately the most important thing. And Josh Clarkson is basically Mr. 30 average. He's averaging, these are his batting averages going from long form to short form. 28.9, 28.7, 27.4. These are his bowling averages from long form to short form. 35.9, 26.9, 31.6. So none of those are elite. None of those are above 45. None of those are below 25. But for an all-rounder, they're all around 30. And that's pretty decent for a kind of middle-order hitter and a seamer who can bowl you 5 to 6 overs a game. He just hasn't quite done a whole lot for New Zealand at the moment, and I'm curious to see what he can do in the ODIs, because believe that's his best format, and he did have a nice little gritty knock in the second T20. So we've got the ODIs starting Wednesday night in Sri Lanka. Players who didn't play in the T20s, we didn't get Dean Foxcroft and we didn't get Nathan Smith. Lockie Ferguson's now out injured. So what does the little old nation of Aotearoa do? We just call up another fast seam bowler in Adam Milne. We have options. We have different types of cricketers. We lose a veteran express bowler. We bring in another veteran express bowler. This is Aotearoa cricket. You got any quick takes on Blackcaps in Sri Lanka?
Well, Ferguson out, Milne in, not a contract between them. So there's another, another point to your idea. Lockie Ferguson, one of the world's weirdest hat tricks in that second game as well, like spanning 2 overs and just some little bit strange dismissals. Like one's a little dink one behind to down leg side, and there was the first one where it's like they thought it was a bump ball, but it very clearly wasn't a bump ball, and then it took ages for them to realize that actually that's just a clean cut wicket. But yeah, Lockie Ferguson chucking himself in the record books there with a hat trick and then immediately getting injured. That's the Lockie Ferguson experience for you. Yeah, I don't even think he played the first game. So he just bowled 4 overs, took a hat trick, helped his team get victory. I think they gave him man of the match for that as well, because that was quite an important hat trick. It was not just a little like sort of gimmicky thing at the end of a game that doesn't affect the result. Like he took key wickets to help the Blackcaps defend a small total. It might have. I think I saw it was like the lowest score they've successfully defended in a T20 international, which is, yeah, let's take that as well. There you go. That's something. There's a nice little battle in Blackcaps again. They're fighting through in these conditions. A bit more of what we saw in the Test series against India. So some nice stuff in there. It's T20, so it's gonna be a little bit volatile in general. You're gonna have like lose one, win one kind of thing. That's nothing crazy. We'll see how they go in the ODI stuff though, because I think you'll probably see Nathan Smith more so here, and I don't know. I've seen people talking about the possibility of Nathan Smith getting a Test debut coming up. There was like, because there was the weird little fact where he might have gone from T20 debut, ODI debut, and then if he plays against England Test debut in the space of like 2 weeks or something like that, like no formats to all formats in such a space of time. He didn't play T20s though, so that's out of that's gone now. That's out the gate now. But I think we'll see him in the ODIs, but I don't think we'll see him in the Test matches necessarily. I think there's an established group of Test guys, and I think, as you say, like comes down to what you might just pick Zak Foulkes instead of Nathan Smith as well. Like there's no reason to think that Smith is ahead of Foulkes in the Test picking order when neither of them have played before. So it's not like there's any existing kind of stuff to go by there. There's maybe even Mike Clarkson, who might even be a consideration. I don't know. Like we don't know what they would do with that if they wanted to pick another player in that position. We've been dealing with spinning all rounders for a little while, so the idea of a seam bowling all rounder. I suspect Smith would probably be top of that, but there's not necessarily something that it's not something we have evidence on yet, because that hasn't happened. But yeah, it should be a nice ODI series. I look forward to seeing some of these dudes actually get to bowl like 10 overs in a game, not just 4 when everyone's it makes a little bit of a difference. Yeah, I also Glenn Phillips. Yeah, Glenn Phillips was the other one I had written down that I wanted to shout out, because like comes in, bowls the last over, defends the total, 3 wickets in there, smacks some sixes when he needs them. Even in a tour where there weren't a lot of runs in that little series, bowls good overs now in all formats of cricket, and is the best fielder in the world. Like he's just wherever and he's the other thing about him is he's one of the guys backing up from that Test squad as well. There's a hardiness to that too.
Just fact checking you here a little bit. Glenn Phillips didn't hit a 6, and Lockie Ferguson only bowled 2 overs. So Lockie Ferguson got player
2
of the
overs
match
and a hat trick. Okay,
for bowling 2 overs. Plunket Shield cricket. So we had the only Blackcaps who I don't think are playing Plunket Shield at the moment are Tim Southey and Will O'Rourke. What do they both do? They both bowl seam. So I think that is little rest for them, but we do have Matt Henry playing for Canterbury. These games are ongoing. So we've got Canterbury versus Northern Districts. We've got Otago versus Central Districts. We've got Auckland versus Wellington. Wellington is the first place for my notebook because Logan van Beek has just hit a 50. He's on 58 not out at the time of recording, and he took a fifer in the first innings. Overnight, I was thinking that Logan van Beek is the best cricketer in Aotearoa right now. And then he scored 58 not out. So I'm gonna plant my flag there. I'm gonna say Logan van Beek is the best cricketer in New Zealand right now. Because he's taking wickets, he's scoring runs, and he is an absolute demon in the field. I believe he scored 4 trophy runs as well. Let me double check what Logan van Beek did in the Ford Trophy to start the summer. Logan van Beek with the bat, he scored a 50. 69 runs at a strike rate of 81. Logan van Beek with the ball, 5 wickets and an average of 33. So that's solid. That's a solid start to Ford Trophy. And then Logan van Beek starts Plunket Shield with a 5 and a 58 not out. So I think Logan van Beek is the best cricketer, Dutch international, but I'm gonna let me say he's the best cricketer in domestic cricket right now. I'll just tweak that a little bit to give respect to the Blackcaps. But Logan van Beek is an international cricketer, so I don't want to tweak it too much. And he is doing the most as an all-rounder. So I'm actually going to tweak it back, and I'm going to stand on my business there and say he is the best cricketer in Aotearoa. Shout out Logan van Beek, the one and only Dutch freak. The other two notes that I have here, we had Matt Fisher joining Christian Clark in the Northern District seam attack. Matt Fisher didn't play any Ford Trophy games, despite one-day cricket being his best format, and Christian Clark started the Plunket Shield with 4 wickets. So Christian Clark took 4 wickets in the first innings for Northern Districts. Matt Fisher took 2, and they were both better than Scott Kugelheim and Neil Wagner. And I think we are entering a phase where Christian Clark definitely, Matt Fisher maybe if he's playing consistently for Northern Districts, but I reckon those two folks need to know about them because they're better bowlers than Scott Kugelheim and Neil Wagner right now. Christian Clark was right up there with Nathan Smith as one of the best domestic seamers last season, and he's Northern's best bowler, I reckon, right now. And if he's doing that, you need to know about him. And we got Matt Fisher coming in with a few wickets. Let me just offer you their career bowling statistics because I think they're pretty damn good off the top of my head. Matt Fisher bowling averages, long form to short form, 26.5, 24.2, 36. Christian Clark bowling averages, long form to short form, 28.6, 24.9, 30.3. Christian Clark, 23 years old. Matt Fisher, 25 years old. Matt Fisher bowls heat. Christian Clark, bit more of a hit the decky. He is what Cricinfo describes Zak Foulkes as. He's actually quite tall. He hits the deck. I don't know if he bowls that fast, but he's taller, but he has a similar hit the decky type of style. The last note here about the first round of Plunket Shield is Bevon Jacobs playing for Auckland. Now, he scored runs in this game for Auckland, 79 runs at a strike rate of 75. And Bevon Jacobs has played every game for Auckland, I believe, this season. Bevon Jacobs, who made his T20 and one-day debut for Canterbury last summer as a very powerful lower order, middle to a lower order hitter. And that is evident in his T20 batting record of an average of 33 and a strike rate of 189. I repeat, a batting strike rate of 189 for a 22-year-old. Then he goes to Auckland and he plays Ford Trophy. Every game of Ford Trophy. Don't know if he did a whole lot. He had scores of 19 not out, 7 and 3 not out. Then he makes his Plunket Shield debut and he hits 75. And he's not necessarily whacking it. He's got a strike rate of 75. He had 3 sixes, 10 fours, off 100 balls. But he's batting like 6 or 7. He's batting 7 and he's showing that he can play in every format. And that's a very notable development when we're forecasting Bevon Jacobs and what he is capable of. Who you can go top tier, and I'll offer some undercover Kiwi cricketers. So at the top tier, give me your 3 favorite New Zealand cricketers. And to help get the ball rolling for you, I imagine Glenn Phillips is going to be in there.
You would imagine correctly. I think most people should have Glenn Phillips in their top 3 if that's the case. I mean, he's genuinely the most exciting player going around. So, yeah, I would have I would have GP there. I would have. Trying to think like how this sort of thing is. I guess it's the players who like when they're batting, you pay a little bit more attention or you feel a bit more invested in them scoring runs, and same deal with them taking wickets. So
You
Kane
just have
Williamson
more
would still
fun.
have to be there.
Just more fun. You
Um,
have more fun when they're playing cricket.
yeah. Uh, Phillips, Williamson, and I probably should pick a bowler to be nice and
You should just
reflective, but
pick
I'm not.
whoever you
Yeah,
think gives you the most fun.
that's what I'm trying to think.
But you're thinking bowlers, like, God,
Maybe
there's some dudes who whack sixes, like Tim Southey's a great whacker, he whacks the odd six.
he does. That is a fair point. And Sim Southey's probably high on that list because I feel like I've spent a lot of time defending him lately. Like I feel like his reputation is not what it the reputation people have of him is not accurate for a guy who is one of our top wicket takers, second top wicket taker in history. I think he is now. I think he's got. Now, he might not quite have caught Daniel Vittori in Test matches, but he's on the way, and he's doing this in all formats as well. And you're right, he slugs a mean six. Yeah, why not? I'm gonna be a little bit contrarian with it, and I'm gonna say Tim Southee is number three because I, he is a Northlander as well, so there's that aspect too. I guess I gotta be respectful in that manner as well. So,
I'd go,
Ken
I'd,
Williamson, Glenn Phillips, Tim Southee.
I'd go Big War. Big War's my favorite,
Yeah, I
one of my
thought
favorite
about
Kiwi
him. I
cricketers, so
was
he
up
would be
there.
in my mix. For the more undercover lads, I've got five. So we've got Zak Foulkes, Luke Georgeson, Otago captain, Christian Clark, just talked about him, Logan van Beek, just talked about him, and Brett Hampton. Like Brett Hampton, he's definitely up there as one of my favorite domestic cricketers. Just smashes the ball, very good seam bowler as well. So those are my top five favorite cricketers below the top tier, second tier, right now. And we'll just update the Plunket Shield because we'll see where. Oh no, this is a good time for the computer to shit the pants. We'll see if old mate Logan van Beek is still not out. He is now 64
Yep.
not out of 98 deliveries. So shout out to Logan van Beek, and Peter Younghusband's scoring runs as well. That's what I'm saying. Like Peter Younghusband's a very good cricketer, good fielder, good bowler, and scores a few runs down the order for Wellington. Oh, I can't big up Peter Younghusband in that regard and not big up Addy Ashok, who's a very good young leg spinner, and he also added a few runs, 25 runs off 70 deliveries down the order for Auckland. And may I add another thing? Logan van Beek is 64 not out in a game where Devon Conway scored 36 runs off 95 deliveries, Rachin Ravindra was dismissed for 7, and Tommy Blundell scored 6. That's what Logan van Beek is up to. So shout out Logan van Beek. You've got the prestigious honour of one of my top 5 favourite cricketers of the second tier right now. Few caveats there, but that's all right. It's a distinguished honour nonetheless.